Here is a Holmes oscillating pedestal VN, a very crooked oscillating pedestal VN. The model number is the Holmes Group HASF1705 from 1999. VN. It's very much looks like a Windmere motor. This design here with the speed control in the back is very iconically Windmere. And I believe somebody wrote in the comment box that this particular model was made by the same OEM that makes Windmere, which I find kind of odd. I don't know Holmes to be a rebranding company. I always kind of thought that they made their own stuff, but perhaps not, or perhaps this was just an exception. The stand has definitely seen better days. It's missing one of its plastic things on the end, and one of these legs is really kind of twisted up. It's got like a little magnet thing on there. It's just really flimsy metal without that piece. So I'm gonna have to like jam a block of wood or something in there so it's more stable. And I think this is actually bent. Yeah, this is all discombobulated here. So. And it's pretty dirty. It needs some help. This was, I got this at the last Goodwill trip, and it was actually donated seemingly by someone that took some degree of care to it. It had, it was wrapped in a plastic bag over the top, probably for storage, and the cord is still wrapped up. Judging by the amount of dust that's on the front here in certain places, I suspect this is a very high hours unit, and it's probably been cleaned multiple times. You can see those big chunks of dust. This probably was solid at one point and then it got cleaned. We'll be able to tell better once we take a look inside the motor. So let's go ahead and plug this thing up and see if or how, or both, it runs. I just have an odd feeling it's not going to work. But we'll see. I didn't check it at the store. I probably should have. Oh man, I really did a number on this cord. Alright, right now we're testing with 119 volts. Get this out of the windscreen. And we'll go ahead and turn this thing on. I think we said it was rated for 0.45 amps. This is number 1. I don't know if number 1 is high or low. This is performing like it's low. Actually moving a pretty good amount of air for the noise level. It's very quiet. Sounds like dry bearings. The guard is shaking, but it's not really that badly out of balance at all. In fact, it's pretty reasonable. Alright, that's 0.32 amps, 38 watts with a power factor of 0.98. Let's go to number 2. Pretty good increase in speed. And if it wasn't for that vibration sound, which I probably can get rid of, it'd be pretty quiet. It's not moving air with a very high velocity, but you can tell it's moving a pretty good volume of air. And now that I actually have an area where I can step back away from the fan, I can tell that it's moving the air quite far. So this is a very pleasant fan in my opinion. On the 2 we have 0.36 amps, 42 watts, and a power factor of 1. And the 3. That pesky noise went away. Yeah, really, it's pretty quiet. And the airflow is not bad. It's very high volume, but it's very gentle and kind of calm and slow. Interesting. It's nowhere near as powerful as like a Lasco Galaxy would have been or something like that, but it's a very pleasant airflow. And I'm sure once it's clean and serviced, the performance will drastically increase because there's a lot of dust on the card and on the blades. Okay, that's 0.42 amps, 47 watts with a power factor of 0.97. Yep, very dry bearings. That should have coasted for quite a bit longer. It's got decent pitch to it still. This era of a lot of products was really right before stuff started to totally stink. It certainly is cheaper than the stuff that we saw in the 70s and the 80s, but it's not like totally abysmal like the products of today are. So let's see if the oscillation works. I doubt it, because that would be typical for Windmere. Let's see. It's drying, but it's really slowed down. Yeah, it's really struggling. Even on high, it can't really overcome it. Yeah, that's not good. The oscillation is definitely having some trouble, which is very typical for these fans made by the Windmere brands. That Holmes song, or whatever the heck it is. I don't know what it was with them, but they did not seem to be able to make an oscillator box. I think it's a fairly simple mechanism, but almost all the Windmere fans, or the Windmere OEM fans that I've worked with, seem to have some kind of a problem with the oscillation. Either something like this, where it's just ridiculously stiff, which I probably could fix, or a situation where it just straight up doesn't even work. I don't know. I don't get that. But anyways, I guess that's it for this one. It certainly shows some promise. It's going to need a lot of help, but I think this will be a decent fan once it's cleaned up and fixed.